down the stretch, and it wasn't all of scoring. He did hit the game winner, but mostly it was because he's playing point guard.
And with all of that, this is how the West is shaking up here, Danny. The Suns, they still hold on to the 10th after their 4-game winning streak. That's thanks to owning the tiebreaker over Dallas. And then take a peek, 6 spots up. The Lakers, they're on the other side of streaking. They are fully clothed here. Luka and LeBron, they're in Orlando last night here, taking on the Magic. We're going to show you that highlight right now, if we could please, Director Jill. So Dwight Howard, he was in attendance here, taking in the action into the Magic Hall of Fame here.
Congrats, big
Congratulations. Dog. Austin Reeves taking notes from Luka Doncic with a no-look behind the back.
Ooh, that's smooth.
Nice setup from Reeves there. LeBron finishes inside. The second quarter here, Luka Doncic hits the right wing 3. He's hitting that from both sides of the floor now.
Yeah, he's in really good rhythm right now. Unfortunately, he's the only one.
Yeah, he's starting to look pretty good. LeBron, again, second game back from injury here. LeBron and Luka combined for 35 points in the first half. The Lakers led by 2 at the break. The third quarter, though, has been a struggle for the Lakers here recently. Franz Wagner hits the floater there. And then later in the third, Paolo Banchero hits that right wing 3.
Looking like Luka in his spot.
Fourth quarter, Magic up. Wagner finishes inside. Magic up 11 now. And then a few minutes later, 12-point lead here. Banchero, nice little baseline jumper. Banchero and Wagner, they combine for 62. The Magic get the win here. So let's take a listen to J.J. Redick after the game.
We look tired, and I don't know what contributes to that. That happens periodically throughout a season where the group gets tired. That's what it feels like right now. You know, again, we weren't able to sustain our level of intensity that we started the game with, and our guys, I thought, started out really well.
Kirk, what's the face?
I'm saying, why not? What's today? It's March 25th, right?
That is correct.
Teams that are actually trying to go compete and win the championship, they're not tired right now. They're actually playing their best basketball. Danny, you know this. Booz, you know this. Teams that are considered legit title contenders, right now their coach is mixing it up a little bit, meaning that their teams are playing at a high level, that they're figuring out different rotations. They're throwing in different type of defensive schemes, offensive sets. They're mixing it up, getting ready and gearing up for the postseason. Right now, the Lakers look gross, okay, especially defensively. And at some point, we've been hearing J.J. Redick. I think he's done an outstanding job since being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But the defensive effort that Luka has been putting forth has to be called out. He has to do better defensively. He has to bring that energy like he does on the offensive side of things. He cannot be a liability because teams are going to search him out, especially when you look at the athleticism that they have around the league at the wing and guard position. The Lakers are not in a good spot right now, but they have time to pick it up. But when you're a contender, you want to be playing your best basketball, especially on March the 25th when it's only about 3 weeks away.
That's true. We have seen the Cleveland Cavaliers stumble a little bit recently. There is still sort of a reshuffling right now. It's a weird time. How concerning, Booz, is this Lakers 3-game winning streak?
It's definitely concerning because you want to be playing your best basketball, to what Perk said, going into the postseason, right? I think when they went on their 7-8 game winning streak for that two month span or whatever it was, they were like number one in defense. They were outstanding defensively. They were getting rebounds, blocking shots, getting in passing lanes. Then Bron gets hurt. They win a couple more games. Luka holds it down. But to Perk's point, you know playoff basketball. You're gonna put Luka in help side positions where he's got to be the helper. Put him in pick and rolls where he's got to be the one that shows on the guard. They're gonna put him in every scenario to have to play defense and think as a defender. And I'm not knocking. Look, Orlando Magic, if Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner never get hurt, they're not in the 8th seed. They're probably like in the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, right? So they're a really good basketball team. They're getting healthy. They're playing great. But they gave up 70 points to the Chicago Bulls in the paint the other day, 146 points total. There's no way they're going to catch up to OKC in the playoffs and knock off the Denver Nuggets on the way to a Western Conference or a title run if they're playing defense like this.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned as these guys are. It's LeBron's second game back, and I know a big part of what they do is with him. So he's got to catch rhythm. He's got to get not in shape, but he's got to get back to himself, which we know he will. He'll turn it up for the playoffs. The defensive issues are a little concerning. But offensively, they're explosive. And the game will slow down in the playoffs. When you have a guy like LeBron and a guy like Luka who can dissect defenses and make the right plays, you can't just turn them over. You always have a chance at winning. But they have to have all three of their big three with Austin Reeves playing really well to win games if they're going to play like this defensively.
They're also trying to work Rui Hachimura back into the lineup here, not just LeBron James. I spoke with LeBron the other night after the Chicago Bulls loss, and I asked him, down the stretch, how do you balance health, trying to gel, but also be rested when the playoffs come? And he said, maybe in the East there's such thing as rest. There's no such thing as rest in the Western Conference. That's how stacked up these two things are. The one thing to keep an eye on is that third quarter and then giving up an average of 127 points during this losing streak. That is not winning basketball. 5.5 seasons in Miami. He took them to the 2020 bubble finals.
Did you guys have to show that highlight?
Sorry, Danny. They were a 5 seed then and then helped the Heat become the second 8 seed to ever make the finals in 2023. I got some better highlights for you. That's in large part because Butler takes his game up a few notches. You know this, Jimmy, about Jimmy. He has upped his scoring average by nearly 4 points a game in the postseason, and that's where you get the nickname Playoff Jimmy. He has similarly elevated his Warriors teammates since arriving in the Bay, Danny. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, they've all seen their scoring averages increase with Butler in the lineup. And that's thanks in large part to Butler's exemplary play. Those teams have gone in opposite directions since the trade. The Warriors are 16-4 since Butler debuted. That's tied for the third best record in the NBA, while the Heat, Miami, are on the other end of the spectrum here. They're 5-17. That is the third worst record in the NBA during this time. So for a little bit more on Jimmy's return here to Miami, our reporter covering the Warriors, Young Masuk, joins us now live from Miami in the Gucci tie. We see you, big game, big tie, we get it. But what are the vibes around Miami and his return here, where he spent the last 5.5 seasons?
Malika, it's pretty funny. I recently talked to Gary Payton II, and I asked him about the vibes in the locker room since Jimmy arrived, and he said, it's like Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, and Jill Scott. Everything is golden. They will rally around Jimmy Butler tonight. They want to get him the win. I'm also told the Miami Heat will have a video for Jimmy Butler. I expect nothing less from this franchise. He obviously took him to 2 finals in 4 years. But look, the Heat desperately need a win. They don't care who's in the building, whether it's Jimmy or anybody else. They just snapped a 10-game losing streak with a win over Charlotte the other night. They need a win. The Warriors, they need a win because they want to keep staying in 6 or get up higher in the standings and stay out of the play-in. So they obviously want to get Jimmy a win. The team wants to rally around him. And Jimmy said, look, there is nothing that is going to knock him out of his character tonight. Nothing can get to him. He will watch the video. I asked him that. If he runs into Pat Riley, he was asked what he would say. He said, I have nothing to say to him. There's a lot of people that still love in this organization, and he still loves a lot of people in the fan base, but he's focused on getting that win.
It seems like there's something that may be unsaid there. If there are people you love, then maybe there's someone where there's no love lost. And leave it to you, to get Erykah Badu into an answer about Jimmy Butler. Before you go, though, you said the Golden State Warriors, they need a win here. If they want one, it would help if Steph Curry is available. He's currently listed as questionable here. He missed Saturday's game with a pelvic bruise. What are the chances that he suits up tonight in Jimmy's return game?
Malika, he rejoined the team in Miami. He was at practice yesterday. They did not go through a scrimmage, but he got shots up. Steve Kerr said he moved well. His shot was going in. Then he had a closed-door individual workout. They will see how he feels today, but I got to say, the team may err on the side of caution here because Steph would have another 2 to 3 days off. They don't play again until Friday at New Orleans. But knowing Steph, he's going to want to try to play. And, because he wants to win. He wants to get the Warriors into the playoffs. So we'll have to see. We'll find out in a few hours.
Yeah, to quote Lauryn Hill, they want to take a negative into a positive picture. Right, Thank you so very much for spending a little time with us here on NBA Today. Let's take a listen together to Jimmy on the perception that people have of him heading into this one.
I'm always painted as the bad guy. Like, everywhere I've been, I've always been a problem. So we'll take it. I don't got nothing to say. I'm not mad at being a bad guy. It's all the way that everything is portrayed. Some people talk to the media, some people don't. I've never been one to tell my side of the story to almost anybody. Let everybody think that this is what happened, and we'll ride with it. And then in like a year's time, it's gonna be somebody else's fault besides mine.
Okay, and that may be true. I think whenever you're returning to fan base that you're always going to be the bad guy. Danny, you've seen this up close. You were with Kawhi Leonard when he returned to San Antonio, which was also your return to San Antonio. How did that go?
We got smashed. It was pretty ugly. It was bad. They booed him, but they cheered me on. So thank you.
Okay, there you go. So given that, what can we expect in Jimmy?
I expect boos, even though he shouldn't get booed because he's done so much for that organization. He's brought him to 2 finals and had multiple, great runs, a couple All-Stars. Unfortunately, things are working out for Golden State right now, and things are going pretty badly for Miami. So they're going to look at him as the bad guy and that he wanted out, even though we know it wasn't him who wanted to get out. It was just him not getting the contract, essentially him and Pat not seeing eye to eye. But, he's done a lot for them, but they will boo him.
It's going to be a brawl for it all. Malik is beef there, and damn it, they gonna make hamburgers tonight. It's real beef there. We just heard Jimmy. We just heard Jimmy say if he see Pat, he have nothing to say to him. That's because Pat forced him out. Jimmy didn't never want to leave Miami. He was forced out of Miami. They chose Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. They said this is their franchise when he came to training camp. They didn't want to give him the contract extension. I think Jimmy wanted to retire as a Miami Heat, but now he's in Golden State. And best believe he's coming to stand on business tonight. I strongly believe. But I do think Eric Spoelstra will have his guys fired up. It will be a excellent, matchup tonight. But again, at some point, we're going to have this conversation about Pat Riley. At some point, we are.
It seems like that's a podcast conversation. We've had it in 2-minute spurts here on NBA Today. Perk needs 25 minutes to get out all of his takes there. Booze,
just 5.
Okay, just 5. I got it. Producer Jaron, let's book that. Booze, after the dust settles a little bit, though, we laid out just how impactful Jimmy was for Miami. How do you think that, when you get a little time and distance, will he be remembered for the Heat?
He'll be remembered as an overachiever. He took a team that was under-talented, very much so, went through the Eastern Conference, beat Boston teams, beat the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo, got to the finals twice, lost to the Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, lost to the Denver Nuggets with the Joker in Denver, did a great job of getting a team that had, Bam Adebayo playing very well, but a couple other guys who maybe even been undrafted or are not very high picks, and took them all the way to the NBA Finals. He'll be remembered as an overachiever, someone who gave his heart and soul for this organization, and best believe he'll have this game circled, guys. Mm-hmm. Jimmy is a competitor. He competes on both sides. He's a winner. He wants to win. This is a game he's going to want to win for bragging rights alone.
Yeah.
Trust me.
He's going to put on a show. No one can doubt how great Jimmy was when the lights are the brightest, how great he still is when the lights are the brightest. But just in case, let's relive some of those moments. A little top of the top, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. We're going to start, Danny Green, with top clutch time. All of these are from 2023. Remember the buzzer step back beater against the Bulls?
Oh.
Got him.
Ice cold. He's got so many of these. It's hard to pick which one is the best one.
Every fan's face, too. And then he catches a lob with 0.7 left to beat the Rockets.
Ooh. We've seen this more than once, actually. He caught another lob against Milwaukee, too, but that's
Danny,
it's like
catch. You knew the transition exactly. Alley-oop layup to send Game 5 to the Bucks against to overtime.
That was a hell of a shot right there.
Man, to catch the ball, find the rim.
And they went on to win the game. Top trash talk. He gets into it with TJ Warren here. He baits Warren into getting ejected, and then he blows him a kiss on the way out. You remember that?
He is a troller, professional troller.
Professional. 2023 conference finals against the Celtics. Gabe Vincent. Transition 3. And then he says, yeah, Boston, go ahead and call timeout. Same series, Jimmy's and one. And then
I like this series.
Face to face with Grant Williams here, and the meme that keeps on giving was born.
Yeah, they blame Grant for that loss.
Tobias Harris over me?
So that was Jimmy's trash talk after sending Philadelphia packing in 2022, Dan.
I was a part of that team. If I wasn't hurt, it might have been a little different, but I don't know.
Okay, then there's emo Jimmy.
Yeah, laugh it up.
Yeah, laugh it up. Of course, exhausted Jimmy. Another the memes. He dropped 35, 12, and 11. Game 5 of the bubble finals. He played. Watkins would undergo season-ending surgery and then begin rehab. The Hall of Famer Holly Rowe, who was in the building on the broadcast yesterday, joins us now. Holly, through the television, you could feel the devastation of fans as soon as JuJu went down. Up close, I imagine it was even more acute. What was the scene like in Galen Center in the wake of JuJu's injury?
it was honestly very devastating. You have to consider this young woman is absolutely beloved. She is a local kid from Watts. The fans have come out. Attendance has been raised by almost 5,000 people per game since she started playing there. And she has made such an impact. And so when she went down, it just felt like the collective soul had been sucked out of that building. And then there was a lot of anger. Every time Mississippi State touched the ball for about the next 30 possessions, they got booed. It was very heightened emotionally. I will say this, it was incredible how her team was able to respond. I think there was a moment on the bench right when the injury happened. You know, players are looking stricken. Lindsey Gottlieb is collecting herself, trying not to cry. And they somehow found a way to collect themselves. Kiki Iriafen with 36 points in that game to get her team to the Sweet 16. The most points in a USC game in NCAA history. So really impactful how they collected themselves, but a very devastating gut punch to see their star and their beloved JuJu go down.
Yeah, Kiki Iriafen really picked up any void that was left there by JuJu. You have to wonder sort of how they're going to continue on in this NCAA tournament. Holly, thank you so much for stopping by NBA Today. The entire basketball world, it was hurting last night. Caitlin Clark, Lisa Leslie, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Magic Johnson, so many more you can see took to social media to send their thoughts, their prayers to JuJu. For more on how Watkins and the Trojans try to move forward here, we now welcome in another Hall of Famer, Rebecca Lobo. Rebecca, you've torn your ACL before. Can you just take us through your experience? Tell us what JuJu may be facing here and what an eventual return could look like.
Well, what we've seen, especially recently with high-level athletes in terms of women's college basketball, is it's about a 12-month recovery process for them to get back on the court. First of all, emotionally, you're torn. This is what every athlete dreams of, is this time of year and playing in the NCAA tournament. And JuJu and her team had a realistic chance to win a national championship this year. So, of course, there's a lot of emotions and feelings there. But one thing that she can look to is the success of some of her contemporaries. We saw Paige Bueckers a couple of years ago tear an ACL and then returned last year and led UConn to a Final Four. Olivia Miles from Notre Dame tore her ACL, sat out last year, and this year, Malika, she's having a career year in terms of her efficiency. So we have seen players come back from this, perform at a really high level. One of the things that's interesting to me as a person who covers the WNBA, JuJu Watkins is a player who is eligible for the 2027 draft. Assuming she redshirts next season, which I think is a fair assumption, she would still be able to enter that 2027 draft, but could also return to USC for a fourth year of eligibility and wait until the 2028 draft. So that's a layer of this looking down the road that is certainly interesting to WNBA GMs.
Yeah, absolutely, because we've already heard WNBA GMs looking at that draft, as you mentioned before, as one that's incredibly deep, trying to position themselves already for when JuJu comes out. Could that timeline potentially be shifted now? That's something that certainly we're going to keep an eye on for the future, but bringing it back to the present, Rebecca, JuJu's played in every game so far this season for USC. In fact, entering last night, look at this, the Trojans, they've only played a grand total of 168 out of a possible 1,285 minutes without JuJu on the floor. That's huge. How do you expect her absence to impact the remainder of the tournament here for a USC team that you just said had championship ambitions?
I expect it to impact them in a massive way. This is similar to if Caitlin Clark had gotten injured over the course of either of the last two seasons. Because JuJu is so high usage for USC, leads them in scoring, leads them in assists, leads them in steals. She's the primary ball handler, the primary facilitator. So Kiki Iriafen, of course, was huge last night. But to win a championship, to get to a Final Four, you have to have elite level guard play. And USC still has terrific guards, but all of them, most of them who get these minutes are freshmen. Kennedy Smith is going to be huge for them. But certainly to make it to a Final Four, especially if the path is going to include beating UConn, it just became colossally hard for USC in a way that it would not have been if they had JuJu Watkins. I don't think there's another player on another team who is as important to her team's success in this NCAA tournament that it even comes close to what JuJu does for USC.
Yeah, and I did love what Andreas said to our colleague SVP last night, which is with players like this, greatness can be delayed for JuJu, but it won't be denied. She will be back and hopefully better than ever. But I'm bummed. I'm bummed because one of the matchups I had circled, I had so many circled, but one of them was this collision course for USC and UConn in the Elite Eight, Rebecca. And with Watkins out, I hate that it comes in the face of injury, but it does feel like the door has sort of been flung open for Paige Bueckers to lead UConn and the Huskies to their 16th Final Four in the last 17 seasons. And last night, this is our electric moment brought to you by Hyundai. Paige made her final game on UConn's campus, 1-2, remember. Late in the first quarter, Bueckers, she would just take over. Watch her here, hits the floater, gets that one to go. And then, rallying up her teammates on the next UConn possession, time winding down in the first, Bueckers with the step back to beat the horn. Just lethal, a 12-0 run for Bueckers alone to end the quarter. And then in the third, Bueckers, watch her here, hits the three. Sixth career 25-point game in the tournament. That's tied with the legend Maya Moore for the most such games by a UConn player in the last 25 years. And then Paige Buckets, she wasn't done. Turnaround jumper there. And then she said, nah, I got more. I got more for you here. Next UConn possession. Another one, Mitty. She joins Maya Moore once again, the only UConn players with multiple 30-point games in the tournament. And then just some icing on the cake here in the fourth quarter. Bueckers gets the handoff, hits the jumper, ties a career high with 34 points. And then Gino Auriemma said, all right, that's good. That's enough. You tied your career high. And I just love that she understood the moment, Rebecca. She finished with a 12 straight to close the first quarter. She took control of the game. She addressed the crowd on the mic after, top to bottom, a star you root for. What made her performance so memorable in your eyes?
Well, Coach Auriemma at the beginning of the season called Paige Bueckers the most unguardable player in America, and she looked like that yesterday. She came out looking to score. At times, she's been criticized for being too unselfish. She wasn't that yesterday. And Malika, what really stood out to me, not only was her aggressiveness hunting her own shot, but she made 14 field goals, and they were all different from one another. She never celebrated herself on her made field goals, but how about on this play? The one time she has the assist there, she just loses it. She's a great teammate. Her teammates love playing with her. So yesterday, yes, she was absolutely unguardable. All 14 field goals made came in a different fashion, and she elevated the play and the confidence of all of those around her. And that's what the greats have. And she's playing the best basketball, I think, right now of her career.
And now for the 31st straight season, UConn is headed here to the Sweet 16. And you got to wonder, is it their tournament to lose here? Rebecca Lobo, we look forward to checking in with you as the dance continues on. But coming up here on NBA Today, it's
Paul Pierce says Lakers are losing Luka Doncic's spark after admitting he was wrong about the trade. The Los Angeles Lakers roller coaster 2025 season has taken another rough turn, with relentless matchups and ongoing injury concerns shaking their momentum. Once sitting comfortably in second place in the Western Conference, the Lakers have now slipped to fourth after suffering 3 consecutive losses. Is this just a temporary slump caused by injuries and a tough schedule, or is there a deeper issue at play? Paul Pierce, the Lakers' spark from the Luka trade, is fading. NBA legend Paul Pierce, who was initially skeptical about the Lakers' blockbuster trade for Luka Doncic, now believes the initial boost from the deal is wearing off. Speaking on FS1 Speak, Pierce shared his thoughts on LA's struggles. When a trade happens, there's always that immediate energy surge, right? It can either make or break a team. In the Lakers' case, it gave them a spark. But now, that spark seems to be fading. Pierce went on to call the Lakers an inconsistent and confusing team, pointing to their erratic 3-7 record in the last 10 games. They went from winning 9 straight to losing 4 in a row. Then they won 2, but they still haven't found their identity again. Health is always a factor, but this Lakers squad doesn't have much room for error. Pierce admits he was wrong about the Luka trade. When the Lakers pulled off the stunning trade for Luka Doncic, Pierce was among the first to question whether it would actually work. I was one of the first to say, I don't know if this is going to work. However, he later backtracked, crediting coach J.J. Redick for making the system click. At first, I should have thought it through more. I didn't realize how well it could work, because it was working under Redick. Now though, Pierce appears to be shifting gears again, raising concerns about whether the Lakers are losing their edge. As the season winds down, the pressure is on. Can the Lakers rediscover their chemistry and prove their championship potential when it matters most? Can the Lakers regain their momentum before the playoffs? With just a few weeks left in the regular season, the Lakers are facing mounting pressure to find consistency before the playoffs begin. The initial excitement surrounding Luka Doncic's arrival seems to be wearing off, and questions are now swirling about whether this team has what it takes to contend for a championship. Beyond Pierce's comments, several analysts and former players have weighed in on the Lakers' struggles. J.J. Redick, who has been praised for his coaching adjustments since taking over, dismissed the idea that the team has lost its spark but acknowledged that the road ahead won't be easy. "We're going through a rough patch, no doubt about it," Redick said in a recent press conference. "But every championship team faces adversity. It's about how we respond." However, concerns extend beyond just the team's energy. Opposing scouts and insiders point to deeper structural issues, including defensive lapses, inconsistent bench production, and the ongoing challenge of integrating Luka Doncic with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Chemistry issues or just growing pains. Some believe the Lakers are simply going through a natural adjustment period following a major trade. Others, however, worry that fundamental issues with the roster construction could derail their title hopes. Former NBA player Kendrick Perkins, speaking on ESPN's NBA Today, echoed Paul Pierce's concerns, questioning whether the Doncic-LeBron pairing is sustainable. "Look, Luka is a generational talent, but when you put two ball-dominant players together, somebody's game is going to take a hit. Right now, it looks like they're still figuring it out, and time is running out." Meanwhile, Dallas Mavericks fans have been quick to point out that their team has surged since moving on from Doncic, with Kyrie Irving and their revamped roster looking more fluid offensively. Some are even calling the trade a rare win for both teams, at least in the short term. What's next for the Lakers? With critical matchups against the Nuggets, Suns, and Warriors in the coming weeks, the Lakers must find answers fast. If their struggles continue, they could find themselves slipping further down the standings, making their playoff path even more difficult. Paul Pierce's comments have sparked debate, but one thing is clear: the Lakers need to prove once and for all that this team isn't just built for highlights, but for a deep postseason run. Can Luka Doncic and LeBron James rediscover their synergy? Will Anthony Davis stay healthy enough to be the defensive anchor they need? And does this team have the depth to survive the grind of the playoffs? The answers will come soon, but for now, all eyes are on LA as the pressure mounts.